Hello everyone, this is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. I am doing part 3 of my series introducing astrology, the planets, the signs, and the decans within the tarot. The Emperor, I'm going to show the decans from the Minor Arcana, how they're related to each of the archetypes, and then the court card that is affiliated with that Emperor. Again, I am using the Golden Dawn Correspondences Tarot. I will not be using the Dawn Tarot. As you've been seeing in my series, I've been focusing primarily on the Pagan Otherworlds and Rider-Waite-Smith. So I want to keep it so that you have 2 decks or a deck that is Rider-Waite-Smith influenced, and then a contemporary deck, such as the Pagan Otherworlds, where you can sort of see the differences in the images and yet correlate the meanings of the correspondences in relation to the signs, planets, and the decans. Now, the decans rules 10 days, 10 to 30 days in each astrological month. This will make sense as I go on to explain and break down the 12 astrological signs with the Major Arcana. And you'll start seeing a pattern. The one thing I want to point out is the cardinal signs. The cardinal signs are, for the Minor Arcana, are the numbers 2, 3, and 4. The fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio, those are 5, 6, 7 in the Minor Arcana. And then our mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces. So we're going to have one in each element, and the element being sun, fire, air, and earth. So watch that pattern as I go through the archetypes. And I suggest bringing a tarot deck that you have, like a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, or inspired, and follow through as I go through this. And I think it'll be easier to follow and to understand. And you can break out your tarot deck into 3 sections. You can break it up into the Minor Arcana, Major Arcana, and the court cards. Okay, now I know the court cards are already part of the Minor Arcana, but I did a separate video for those because the relationship astrologically is a little different with the court cards versus the minor and the major arcanas. There's similarities, but their placement is different. So what I want to emphasize is watch for the patterns with the decans, the planetary affiliates, and the signs. And then at the end of the video, I will be doing the 10 planets that are associated with the Major Arcana. Now, these 10 Major Arcana have no astrological sign directly connected to them. They will play influence when you do a reading, but for the most part, they hold their rulership primarily by that planet, and those will be at the end. Alrighty, so we have a lot of cards to go through. I'm going to make this very basic. I don't want to explain what the Emperor, the Hierophant is. I'll just give like maybe a few words description, and then I can go into the Minor Arcana and give you the dates of those Minor Arcanas based on the degree of placement for each decan. And again, I'll emphasize one more time, each astrological month, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, each astrological month goes from 0 to 30 degrees. 10 days, 0 to 10, It's the first 10 days. 10 to 20, more or less the middle of that astrological month. And then 20 to 30 is the last part of that astrological month. So when I give you the dates, you'll start seeing the relationship between those cards. Alrighty, here we go. I have my cat that may be jumping in and out behind my computer, so if you see me reaching, I'm trying to get him to not move as much. So other than that, I think we're okay. So let's go with the Emperor. I'm going to do side-by-side comparison of the Rider-Waite-Smith. Go here close. And Pagan Otherworld's interpretation. Okay. Again, some of these cards have planetary influence, but I don't want to emphasize that so much. The Emperor, this astrological sign it rules from is Aries. Its planetary influence is Mars. Aries we know as initiators. They set the foundation of getting things to get going, whether it's projects, whether it's changes within yourself. It infuses creativity, the action of getting that in motion. And this is the Emperor. And the card of rulership, or the minor cards of rulership in the decans associated with the Emperor are 4, I'm sorry, these are out of order, 2, 3, and 4 of Wands. And I'm going to place these cards side by side. Okay, so far, 2 of Wands. This is the first decan, the astrological month of Aries, which the Emperor has its sign influenced with. So the 2 of Wands, March 21st to the 30th. Our 3 of Wands, 10 to 20 degrees, March 31st to April 10th. And our 4 of Wands, 20 to 30 degrees. We are now in the last part of Aries, April 11th to the 20th. And as I had mentioned earlier, each of these cards will have a court card of influence. That's how I'm describing it. So this court card of influence throughout these archetypes, my interpretation is the outcome with the experience of the Emperor, the cards 2, 3, and 4 of Wands, taking those influences, learning with those lessons, ultimately is the Queen of Wands. So by going through the attributes, the guidance of the Emperor, and those 2, 3, and 4 of Wands, ultimately you can have that success. You can have that success that the Queen of Wands has. Another thing I want to point out, and I think I mentioned this in my previous videos, is that I feel the Queen of Wands, even though I have this associated with the Emperor and also in the decans, it is a court card of influence primarily for the month of Aries. The Queen of Wands can also be influenced through Leo, and the same with the King of Wands. There could be that fiery influence for either of those court cards. Again, it is based on your reading, the question that's being asked by the sitter. How does the Queen of Wands fit in your reading? So if you're starting to get more cards leaning on the Leo side, the Queen of Wands could be the influence for Leo. But in this case, since I'm breaking it down archetype-wise, Queen of Wands is under the leadership of Aries and the guidance of the Emperor. Also, too, every 3 archetypes that we're going through is also going to represent a season. And I will explain that as I go along. And as the archetypes change, I will note that it is a change in the season. So right now, Aries is representing, or the Emperor is representing the start of spring in the decans. So here we have the Hierophant. My Rider-Waite-Smith here. I'm picking other words right here. And as I show these cards, just spend time and visually look at them, or if you have your deck with you, if you have 2 decks that you want to do a side-by-side comparison, just look at them imagery-wise and see how there's a relationship or slight difference between the 2. I mean, we have the hand up in benediction. It's done a little differently with the Hierophant of the Rider-Waite-Smith. Pig in Other Worlds, we have the triple cross, but it's a little bit more primitive, which I like. And the hand of benediction is just it's the full hand upright. It's the right hand. While here, it's the left hand. So the Hierophant is ruled by Taurus. And the Hierophant, just very briefly, is an individual who has a traditional way of seeing things, spirituality. The best way I explain the Hierophant is that it's almost the external version of the High Priestess. The High Priestess is taking more in the form of her inner spirituality, more esoteric in our way of approaching things with ourselves, the way we see things. Well, the Hierophant externally base his experience on previous mentors and sharing that experience. It's more of a superficial, I would say, experience of their spirituality. More in the realm of a physical transformation that may have happened, and it just influenced that individual spiritually. Cancer, and then we have Capricorn. There are 3 in each season. So for the Hierophant, we're going to have the 5, 6, and 7 of Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles is 0 to 10 degrees, April 21st to the 30th. Six of Pentacles, 10 to 20 degrees, May 1st to the 10th. Seven of Pentacles, 20 to 30 degrees, May 11th to the 20th. And at this stage, we start seeing 5, 6, and 7. We start seeing the shifts within the signs of the Pentacles, what we are moving towards. There's going to be some challenges along the way, and we have to face that. With the guidance of the Hierophant and the cards 5, 6, and 7, I feel for the court card of influence for the Hierophant is the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is someone who has achieved full success in the material realm. Could also be with health. the taking care of things of value and being successful with that. What you put in with the Pentacles, the outcome of the King of Pentacles shows the positive and wealth results from it. So again, Court card of influence, King of Pentacles, with the guidance of the Hierophant. And this is my interpretation by taking in the Golden Dawn Correspondences and relating it to the Major and Minor Arcana and the Court cards. So to recap, our Five of Pentacles, 0 to 10 degrees, April 21st to the 30th. Six of Pentacles, May 1st to the 10th. Seven of Pentacles, 20-30 degrees, May 11th to the 20th. And then, of course, the Court card of influence is the King of Pentacles. So again, you'll see patterns, if not already, as you go through your cards and separate them in such a manner. Next up, we are winding down the spring season. We're getting ready for summer. This is our last card for that season. We are the Lovers. The Lovers is ruled by Gemini. The planet of influence is Mercury, but I will discuss that with the other major arcanas. And the Lovers is about communication, partnership, duality. So Gemini is a mutable sign. So the mutable signs are cards 8, 9, and 10. And then we start up again. Each season we go into is a cardinal sign, which we will see in the next series. But here with Gemini, the cards of influence in the Minor Arcana, and person. Eight of Swords. Our Eight of Swords is 0 to 10 degrees, May 21st to the 31st. Our Nine of Swords, Pagan Otherworlds renditions, quite beautiful. Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is June 1st to the 10th. That is 10 to 20 degrees. So we're in the middle of the month of Gemini. It's June 1st to the 10th. So the sun changes its time of the season. So it could be, my spirit, so it could be June 20th or 21st or April 20th. A Court card of influence for the Lovers. Again, this is the outcome and the influence from the Lovers. From the Lovers, and cards 8, 9, and 10 of Swords. A Knight of Swords represent quick, swift movement of thought, rational thinking. You see the sword here of the court card raised up, directed to where it needs to go to complete its direction, getting right to the core and the truth of things. It's the Knight of Swords, the Lovers. Knight of Swords, the outcome, the Lovers, 8, 9, and 10 of the Major Arcana. Okay, so that wraps up our spring season. So we've done the Emperor, the Hierophant, and the Lovers. So now as we go into our starting season of summer, we're going to see the influence of Cancer. Very different depictions here with the Rider-Waite-Smith, including other worlds. The Sun of Cancer. Taking control of things that are in chaos. Taking control of one's destiny to get to that outcome. We are now going into the realm, excuse me, the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is the first decan, 0 to 10 degrees, June 21st, to July 1st. Cups involves relationships and emotions and instincts, how we feel about things, how we deal with things. We have the Three of Cups, 10 to 20 degrees. Whoa. June 2nd to the 11th. And then we have our Four of Cups. Excuse me. Which is 20 to 30 degrees. July 12th to the 21st. Which winds down the month of Cancer, the last 10 days of Cancer, Four of Cups. Now the court card of influence, give me 1 second. Spirit and I are having a challenge of real estate here on the table. So my computer is pretty much at the edge of the table right now. Okay, so the court card of influence for the Chariot is the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups can be ruled either by, and also for the King, can either be Cancer or Scorpio. Why it's not Pisces? Because with the Astrological Decans, the Golden Dawn, the way they have it associated, Pisces is always seen as the Knight of Cups. But here with the Queen of Cups, I feel this is, since we are talking about Cancer, the influence falls into the influence of the sign of Cancer for the Queen of Cups. Again, that could change when you do your layouts. This card could actually end up being more on the Scorpio side. The Cancer being a cardinal sign, and it being part of the Chariot, which is influenced through Cancer and the Moon. Queen of Cups, again, is the influence that initiates someone who is really in touch with their feelings, They're there to help people. And this result can come through the guidance of 2, 3, and 4 of Cups and the Chariot. You know, the Chariot's ruling so many different things. It's trying to take control of its own energy. But once you've gone through that, and you've gone through the experience, and you use the influences of 2, 3, and 4 of Cups and the other cards that are related in your reading, you can ultimately be that Queen of Cups. You could be that person who is maternal and can actually help people. I think those aspects are inherent in a lot of us. It's just a matter of getting attuned with that aspect of ourselves. We all have 4 elements. We all have those attributes. Some are more fiery, some are more watery, some are more earthy, some are more airy. So, and that's why we have our astrological signs the way that we do. You know, so there's some people who just have that fiery energy, earthy, water, or the thought process in the air sign. All right, so we are done with Cancer. Our next sign is Strength. Or I'm sorry, next archetype is Strength, the sign ruled by Leo. And I love the different comparisons here of strength. Take in other words, we have the bear. And here, Rider-Waite-Smith, we have the lion. Both tamely, Take in other words seems to be a little bit more firm in controlling the bear energy, while the Rider-Waite-Smith seems to be a little bit more not submissive, but more calm and taking care of that vitality that Leo's known for. So our cards in the Minor Arcana that is influenced by Strength. Okay, in Strength, Leo is a fixed sign, so we're going to follow through with cards 5, 6, and 7. This is 5 of Wands, which rules 0 to 10 degrees, July 22nd to August 1st. Six of Wands, August 2nd to the 11th. This is the 10 to 20 degree decan, the month of Leo. And then we have the 7 of Wands. 7 of Wands is 20 to 30 degrees, August 12th to the 22nd. This winds down the last decan of the month of Leo. And the court card of influence is the King of Wands. Okay, remember what I was saying with the Queen of Wands? Even though Queen of Wands was the court card of influence for the Emperor, which could emphasize Aries, the King of Wands, you would naturally say is Leo. But again, depending on the reading that you're doing, King of Wands can actually fall into Aries as well. And again, the court card of influence is the outcome of taking in the influence of the Strength card, the energy of Leo, and the attributes of cards 5, 6 of Wands, and 7 of Wands. When you break down the energy of those cards, the Minor Arcana, its influence within the Major Arcana archetype, in this case strength, you could achieve the result of the King of Wands. Okay, so we have one more card that's going to wrap us up for the summer season, and then we're going to start moving into fall. So we have all three elements, not three elements, but three attributes to go through the archetypes. The attributes being, I call them attributes, cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So we are now moving into the mutable sign of Virgo, which is ruled by the Hermit. Virgos, we know, are perfectionists. They're analytical. They really spend their time to cross their T's, dot their I's. They go through everything with a fine comb. They go deeper into their work than other people. They go deeper into their studies if they're a student. They are looking for guidance and looking for answers. So Virgo is an earth sign, and this will take in our last part of our Pentacles. Here we have the 8 of Pentacles, which is 0 to 10 degrees, August 23rd to September 1st. Nine of Pentacles, 10 to 20 degrees, September 2nd to 11th. And then our 10 of Pentacles, wrapping up the month of Virgo, 20 to 30 degrees, September 12th to the 22nd. And the card of influence, or the court card of influence, is our Knight of Pentacles. And I want to point out, when you look at the decan charts that are out there that are related to the Golden Dawn correspondences, the court cards tend to fall back a sign. So, for instance, the Knight of Pentacles actually falls into the last 20 to 30 degrees in the sign of Leo. But its primary influence, where it holds its rulership the most, is in the sign of Virgo. And for Knight of Pentacles, Knight in general is movement, energy. It's not a time to be stagnant with achieving and succeeding our goals. This is a time of movement. And this can be achieved by following the guidance of the astrological influence of Virgo, using the major archetype of the Hermit, and using the Minor Arcana cards, 8, 9, and 10. By following those guides, the Minor Arcana, 8 through 10 of Pentacles, the Hermit, and the Knight of Wands, or the Knight of Pentacles, you can achieve the direction of where you need to go using the guidance of these attributes: Court card, Minor Arcana, and the Major Arcana. Alrighty. As we start moving into the fall season, we're going to go into the next cardinal series. And this is going to be Libra. The major archetype of this card is Justice. And we're using that sword for cutting through to the truth, cutting out chaos, using our thoughts, reasoning, logic to get answers. And the depictions we have here are the Pig in Netherworlds, or Rider-Waite-Smith, the Justice of the RWS here. We see is firmly seated on the throne, the scale. Scales are being held on the right hand, slightly lowered, but our sword is upright, showing authority. Pig in Netherworlds, we see it more in action, the sword. The scales are still lowered down. We are not being faced with justice. This is showing the action towards reason. It's making those steps for logic and getting answers. Alrighty, so with the Minor Arcana, we're going to have cards 2, 3, and 4. Again, as I said, this is now cardinal. We're going into a new season. Our first cardinal sign was Aries, which represented spring. Our second cardinal influence, I guess the best way of saying that, is the Chariot, which is ruled by Cancer, starring for summer, which is where we are right now. And then we entered into the next cardinal sign, Libra. The cards of influence for the decans are 2, 3, and 4 of swords. The 2 of swords, let's get my comparison here. Oh. Our 2 of swords is ruled (0 to 10 degrees, September 23rd to October 2nd. Our 3 of swords, 10 to 20 degrees, October 3rd to the 12th. Our 4 of swords, 20 to 30 degrees, October 13th to the 22nd. And then our court card of influence is the Queen of Swords. This could be Libra or Aquarius. It doesn't follow suit with Gemini, because with the Golden Dawn Correspondences, Gemini is placed in the sign of the Knight of Swords, which I show in my first part of my video discussing the court cards. So as you can see with the transition with Justice and following the 2, 3, and 4 of swords, the Minor Arcana, ultimately with the guidance of Justice, you can achieve the attributes of personality of the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is just someone who is very direct and doesn't beat around the bush. They tell you exactly how it is. And again, with the King of Swords, in relation to the Queen of Swords, Could be Libra or Aquarius. Since we're in the cardinal sign of Libra for Justice, the Queen of Swords, for this would be Libra. So again, our two of Swords, 0 to 10 degrees, September 23rd to October 2nd. This is for me to put the card. 3 of Swords, 10 to 20 degrees, October 3rd to the 12th. And then we have our 4 of Swords, 20 to 30 degrees, October 13th to the 22nd. This wraps up the month of Libra. As I'm going through these and sharing these cards, it's the swords are one of the more difficult cards because they tend to deal directly with conflict and how we use our thoughts and our mind in making choices and being rational and just, we need to get answers. It's the 2, 3, and 4 of Swords. They're not the easiest of cards, but again, by using that right mind of clearly making choices, breaking things down, and seeing things. Justice, the cards here, Libra, they rule with the mind. They don't feel with their heart. Their heart comes secondary. And that's why we see, 2 of Swords here. It's conflict, flossing, trying to make decisions over multiple things. Of course, 3 of Swords. But also knowing that out of conflict, you have to look forward. Here we go with the 4 of Swords. It's going to take time, but again, with the guidance of the Justice card, and clearly understanding the Minor Arcana, the 2, 3, and 4 of Swords, and also as the dates that I mentioned, seeing what energy is going on at that time during the placement of the cards, the month of Libra. All right, sidetracked a little bit. So now we start moving into going towards early winter, but not quite yet. We're still mid-fall. Our next card in our astrological wheel, as we're winding down the tail end of it, is the Death card. Astrological sign is Scorpio. This is a card not to be scared of. You get a card that is the Death card. This is a calling card. To let you know it is time for a change. That change and transformation is coming. I'm just going to move in closer. We look here at the Rider-Waite-Smith. We see Death riding on that white horse and just trampling everything in its path. And then here the Pagan of the Worlds, very similar. So using that sickle to just stop, to move on from things that are holding itself back. So again, Scorpio being a water sign, our decans are all going to be cups. It's a fixed sign, so our fixed signs again are going to be numbers 5, 6, and 7. So we're going to have 5, 6, and 7 of cups. Our 5 of cups for Scorpio is 0 to 10 degrees. October 23rd to November 2nd. Our 6 of cups, 10 to 20 degrees, November 3rd to the 12th. Our 7 of cups, 20 to 30 degrees, November 13th to the 22nd. Making choices emotionally. Here's quite the opposite from our Libra sign. Our cups, we rule from the heart. We follow our instincts when we make our choices. And then it's just creating that balance with the mind and the heart. Core card of influence, King of Cups. King of Cups can also be Scorpio or Cancer. Being that we're using the Death card, we have the Death card and it is ruled by Scorpio. It's safe for this instinct. This situation, is the King of Cups ruled by Scorpio. Stands in this card of that the king is, looks like he's sort of shunning away from the situation. Emotional King of Cups. Okay, so again, for our Death card, Scorpio, 5 of Cups, 0 to 10 degrees, October 23rd to November 2nd. Six of Cups, November 3rd to the 12th, 10 to 20 degrees, so we're in the middle of the month of Scorpio. And then our 7 of Cups, 20 to 30 degrees, November 13th to the 22nd. And then, of course, our King of Cups, can relate to Scorpio, is the court card of influence. Like going through death, transformation, working within the sign of Scorpio. It's just psychic energy, deep emotions, very passionate, very fiery in their emotions. The King of Cups primarily someone who is an individual who can understand the heart because they've gone through the pain and hurt, but they've come out of it. They've survived. They've come out of it strong. And it's through the Death card. The letting go, the changing within, and the way people see that on the outside. It's a very caring individual, King of Cups. And again, Scorpio is a fixed sign. And the numbers that those rule are numbers 5, 6, and 7. We are now going into our tail end of fall. And this is ruled by Sagittarius, Temperance, beautiful energy in these cards. Sagittarius is a fire sign, and it's a mutable sign. Again, mutable is someone who is adaptable, can change, can move with things. Temperance is also a person who's adventurous, reaching out for new ways of seeing things, experiencing things. They explore the conscious and the subconscious realms of the self and of higher knowledge. So with Sagittarius being a fire sign in Temperance, we are now mutable signs. We are now in the last part of the season. We are in the last part of our element of Wands, which is going to be 8, 9, and 10. So we have the 8 of Wands, 0 to 10 degrees, November 23rd to December 2nd. 9 of Wands, 10 to 20 degrees, December 3rd to the 12th. 10 of Wands, 20 to 30 degrees, December 13th to the 21st. And our court card of influence is the Knight of Wands. This card, the Knight of Wands, works very well with Temperance. It is a wonderful court card of influence through Temperance and through the 8, 9, and 10 of Wands. You are moving towards completion. You have that drive. You've taken what you've learned, your knowledge, and being your adventurous self. And you go out to explore and share it with others as well. This is the Knight of Wands, ruled by Sagittarius, and the Major Arcana is Temperance. Okay, so that is the end of our third season. We're now getting ready for the last season in our astrological wheel, which will represent winter. Sorry, I have to move this a little bit more. And we are in the sign of Capricorn, which is ruled by the devil. And all the Major Arcana cards and Minor Arcana cards that have a negative connotation, like the devil, tends to have the devil's actually related back to Gemini, but I don't want to go into an explanation about it. But the association here is working within our boundaries. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which I'll discuss in the remaining Major Arcana cards. This is being restricted to our own vices. We made some choices. They weren't the best of choices, but Capricorn, influence with the devil, we can work through these. It's going to be hard. We may be slaves to our own vices, to our work, to certain situations. This is something that needs to be worked through. So our cards, Minor Arcana cards, and you know what? I think I mentioned, I said this incorrectly. Our 8, 9, and 10 of Pentacles, which was related to Virgo, are not our last Minor Arcana cards for the Pentacles. It's these, because now we're going into the season of winter. It's a time of where it's a time of reflection. This is the Two of Pentacles. Ruled 0 to 10 degrees, December 22nd to January. I'm sorry, December 22nd to the 30th. Three of Pentacles, 10 to 20 degrees, December 31st to January 9th. We have a Four of Pentacles, 20 to 30 degrees, wrapping up the month of Capricorn, January 10th to the 19th. So in the winter months, let me show the court card of influence, the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles with Capricorn or Taurus, either for the Queen or King of Pentacles, but with the Devil, being ruled by Capricorn. So the Queen of Pentacles is a sign of Capricorn, and we can tell by the headdress that the Queen is wearing here. It's more a Capricornish ram, if you will. So in the winter months, especially with Capricorn, it's a cardinal sign, so it's the start of the winter season. It's a time to just start reflecting on what has been done and what you would like to do with your health, with anything of value. Start planning investments that you may want to do during these months. Winter months overall is that time, because our weather starts changing and we start becoming more inward and more reflective in our energy and how we do things. So it's a time to really take advantage of this season and work with the Two of Pentacles, the energy of the Three of Pentacles, the energy of the Four of Pentacles. Through the guidance of the Devil, we have to be resourceful, we have to be restricted with our limitations, work within our guidelines and stuff during this time of the year. It can be challenging for some, but not if you follow the suit of the Devil. You can achieve the Queen of Pentacles. You can achieve the success, material way of handling things. So it's a time of just being more resourceful, since it rules the winter season. And again, Two of Pentacles, December 22nd to the 30th, 0 to 10 degrees. So it's starting out the first week of Capricorn. Our Three of Pentacles, 10 to 20 degrees, December 31st to January 9th. And then wrapping up the Capricorn season. So Four of Pentacles, 20 to 30 degrees, January 10th to the 19th. And then our core card of influence is the Queen of Pentacles, which is Capricorn, but could also be Taurus. The same for the King of Pentacles. So when these cards fall in their particular decan, again, harness that energy of that Major Arcana archetype, and the week with the 10 days that Minor Arcana is in, and use it as a guide to achieve the court card of influence. Okay, so as we're in the middle of winter, our next sign in our astrological wheel is air sign. And this is the sign of Aquarius, which our major archetype is the star. We know Aquarius as being revolutionary thinkers, an orthodox way of seeing situations. They're known as the rebel in the way that they approach things. You probably see them more vocal when it comes to human rights. They are the sign of change. Hence the song, The Dawning of Aquarius, the dawning of a new way of looking at things. Now, Minor Arcana cards, the decans of the star is 5, 6, and 7 of swords. Our 5 of swords is 0 to 10 degrees, January 20th to the 29th. So we're going into the month, first 10 days of Aquarius. 6 of swords, 10 to 20 degrees, January 30th to February 8th. These got out of order. No, they're right. Then we have the 7 of swords. The last 10 days of the month of Aquarius, 20 to 30 degrees. The 7 of swords is February 9th to the 18th. And our court card of influence. One sec here. Court card of influence is the King of Swords, which could be Aquarius or Libra. Same with the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords, we affiliated that with Libra, since Justice and Libra were ruled by the Queen, or are ruled by the Queen of Swords. We have the King of Swords with the star. Astrological signs Aquarius, so we can relate this to Aquarius. Again, the court card of influence is the card that, through the power of the star and the influences of the 5, 6, and 7 of swords, by going through those experiences, we can achieve the King of Swords. We can achieve that strength of mind, strength of making right-minded decisions. Again, the swords involves the thought. So there's very little ruling of the heart with this. So this is a good, the swords are actually good, I would feel, as an exercise for strengthening the mind. You feel you need to be more focused on things. I think the swords is an excellent way of infusing that energy to balance with the heart as well. So our Minor Arcana decans in relation to the star. 5 of Swords, January 20th to the 29th, 0 to 10 degrees. Our 6 of Swords, 10 to 20 degrees, January 30th to February 8th. Again, this is the month of Aquarius, and our last 10 days in Aquarius, 20 to 30 degrees, is the 7 of Swords. And then Our core card of influence is the King of Swords. Use the guidance of the star, the guidance of the sign of the Aquarius to achieve the King of Swords status that you may like to have within yourself. So, winding down our last month of winter and going into early spring is our moon card, which is ruled by Pisces, which is a mutable sign and is the last sign in the astrological wheel, and it's a water sign. Here we have the moon. And I can't say enough how beautiful these comparisons between the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Pig in Other Worlds with their renditions of the archetypes. Moon, Pisces. Moon is also associated with Cancer because it is a water sign. But its rulership for Pisces is primarily the moon. Dealing with the realms of the conscious and the subconscious, separating reality from imagination, letting our minds running away with us and getting the best of us, howling at the moon, all that energy that's building up. So our last, as it is a mutable sign, mutable signs rules the numbers 8, 9, and 10. We have 8, 9, and 10 of cups. Here is the 8 of cups, which is 0 to 10 degrees. It's the first 10 days in the sign of Pisces, February 19th to the 28th. Nine of Cups, 10 to 20 degrees, March 1st to the 10th. And then we have our 10 of Cups, which winds the month of Pisces, 20 to 30 degrees, March 11th to the 20th. And the core card of influence for the moon is the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups, again, the Knight represents movement. It's connecting with our own emotions. The card could be known for someone who is romantic, really lost in the realm of feelings, and I shouldn't say lost, but just really working with their heart, moving with their heart when it comes to achieving things. It's the Knight of Cups. It's the influence of the archetype of the moon. This is the outcome. The Knight of Cups. If you follow your heart, try not to get too lost in the realm of imagination and staying lost in the subconscious, but just feel a little bit more. Come out from that inner surface and come out like as we see here. It's at the beach, it's near the water, but it's also on land. And it's slowly moving, it's slowly nurturing its emotions. And this is the outcome with the influence of the moon for the Knight of Cups and the cards 8, 9, and 10, the major or of the Minor Arcana. So again, our 8 of Cups, 0 to 10 degrees, February 19th to the 28th. And if it's a leap year, kind of use that with a grain of salt because this year was a leap year. So I would probably keep the Eight of Cups around the 19th to the 29th, perhaps. Our Nine of Cups, 10 to 20 degrees, March 1st to the 10th, in the middle of the Pisces season here. And then the 10 of Cups, 20 to 30 degrees, March 11th to the 20th. And then our court card of influence is the Knight of Cups. And I will emphasize, again, when you look at the not the astrological wheel, the decan, astrological decans, you will see the Knight of Cups falling back to the last week of Aquarius, which would be 20 to 30 degrees. It's only for those 10 days, but its rulership for the Knight of Cups is primarily the 10 to 30 degrees, those last 20 to 30 days in the month of Pisces. This is where its influence is. And then the Queen of Wands, which also falls into the last week of Pisces, starts it all over, and it falls into the beginning of the astrological wheel in the sign of Aries. But I'm choosing these court cards where they hold their decans the longest. So as I just mentioned, with the Knight of Cups, even though it falls back a little bit to the sign of Aquarius, its primary rulership is in the sign of Pisces. And when you look at the astrological decan chart, you'll see what I mean. And that's how I'm associating the court cards with each of these archetypes. You can improvise from it if you like, but for me, just to make it easier when it comes to doing the decan associations with the Major and Minor Arcana, that's more or less how I'm making the relationship between those cards. One thing that I also want to point out is no aces showed up for the Major Arcana, because the Ace of Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles are almost in line with the Page of Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. They are the beginning of the season. So when you look at the Minor Arcana video that I did, and breaking down each of the Minor Arcanas based on their elements, the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, and Pentacles all represent a transition in season. And these do not have an influence directly with the Major Arcana, because our seasonal change goes with the astrological signs related to the Major Arcana. As I mentioned, the Emperor, Aries, is the beginning of spring. Our next cardinal sign is Cancer. Major Arcana is the Chariot, and that is ruled for summer. Justice is our next cardinal sign for fall. It's ruled by Libra. And then our winter sign, or the winter month, is for Capricorn. Major Arcana influence is the Devil, and that takes us to the beginning of winter. And then, of course, the moon, or the Pisces mutable sign, closes our astrological year. So each season is ruled by a cardinal sign, and the cardinal sign is related to these 12 Major Arcana archetypes that I showcased today. So next are the planetary influences of the Major Arcana. And I mentioned, let's see here. Okay. We have 10 planets and their influences with the major arcana will be slightly different. So, as I have mentioned, the major arcana, the archetypes and the 12 signs, those signs, some of them have planetary influences. Like Saturn is with Sagittarius, is with Capricorn. Sagittarius can be related to Jupiter for expansion, and but Pisces can actually be related to Neptune, even though its influences with the moon. Its primary planet is Neptune. So I'm going to show you the difference here with our planetary influences on the major arcana. So the Fool, Uranus. Unexpected changes, sudden shifts in things. The Fool, as we know, is about to begin on a journey. We don't know what's going to happen. It's planetary influence because of the unknown sits well with the Fool. Uranus is about to influence this individual on a journey into the unknown. That's Uranus for the Fool. I'm not going to do the side-by-side comparison with the Rider-Waite-Smith. Magician is Mercury. Mercury is of the mind, is of quick movement, swift thinking, logical. Also keep in mind the magician has its elements that it's working with. We don't see it here, but the magician, we see the swords. We see the sword, pentacles, cups, wands. Actually, let me go ahead and I will go ahead and do this. It's mastering these tools with the influence of Mercury's quick speed and initiating things and getting things moving with the mind. Oh, let me see, did I lose my pointer? The High Priestess. Hands down, the planet, the star, the satellite of influence is the moon. The High Priestess has a direct relationship and connection to the moon energy, into the deeper realms. And if you may recall earlier, I mentioned that the Hierophants, like the external version of the High Priestess, was the Hierophant-based experiences through mentorship, through personal experiences that the Hierophant has gone through in life. Here, the High Priestess internalizes the spirituality, more esoteric, going into the deeper realms of ourselves. And this is ruled by the moon. Let's see, I'm trying to find the proper order that I can place these in. Our next major arcana archetype is the Empress. And as we can see here, the symbol, it is ruled by Venus. Venus is all things natural, beauty, nurturing oneself, being comfortable with ourselves. And we see it right here, it's very subtle in the pig and other words. Symbol for Venus. I've seen the word a few times, and I think it's a wonderful example of the Empress. Another word to describe her is the creatrix. She is the, capital letters, THE, the person who has the knowledge and knows and understands about fertility and growth. So the Empress is ruled by the planet Venus. Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter. What goes around comes around. This is a karmic card. Of course, Jupiter is of expansion and seeing things in a wider perspective and understanding, taking everything in. You see different interpretations here. Rider-Waite-Smith. The Wheel of Fortune, you'll see this in some of the traditional cards. They have the 4 representations of the fixed sign. Let's see if I can point this out correctly. This is Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo. You don't quite see these archetypes here in the pagan otherworlds, but the influence, we see they have the lion on top. Wheel of Fortune, being open-minded to what's out there and be aware of the choices that you make. Make sure they are choices that you are ready to take on any consequences, good or bad, if they were to come out from that. Hence it being the karmic card. Okay, the Hangman. Planet Neptune, I have mentioned that Pisces is related to Neptune, but it's not, Pisces is not the archetype, Major Arcana archetype for the Hangman. It's the moon card. So with Neptune, we are flipping things around, flipping our perspective. Neptune deals with our illusionary, our inner state, our spirituality, our instincts, and following them. And here we've come to a point to where we feel like maybe we've done everything that we could. What else is there left to do is just flip the tables. Flip things around so you could get a different perspective. Do the opposite. You're being flipped upside down, which is putting the head downward, which is putting you more in the illusionary realm, the subconscious realm. Looking really within ourselves to get a different perspective. It's the Hangman, excuse me, ruled by the planet Neptune. Alrighty. Tower card. Tower card is Mars. Destruction. Breaking down. It's quite the opposite of the Emperor. The Emperor, we're building that foundation to begin things. Here with Mars influence in the Tower, we're tearing things down. Things that are no longer working for us. Letting go of those past influences that just didn't quite do the Tower any justice. Breaking down the walls, the boundaries. The Tower is ruled by Mars. Again, emphasizing destruction. And also the Tower card, let me bring this card back up, is also associated with Pluto in a layout, depending on how you're doing your layout. And Pluto is of transformation and change, which is more or less what's happening here with the Tower. Just as the Death card is the calling card of cutting out all the stuff from the past. Here the Tower is upping the ante, and we're really breaking down everything. We're tearing everything down and getting ready for a new start, which is what Pluto is about, but we're going to discuss Pluto in a moment. Okay. This card's going to be easy, the Sun card. The Sun is ruled by the Sun. Vitality, energy, life-giving. A source of things that are all anew. This is the new lease on life. You've gone through everything. You've gone through death, tower, destruction, hardship, but you've remained strong, courageous, to know that there is more ahead, that there is life ahead. The Sun is the sign also associated with Leo. So use the attributes of Leo with the Sun card. I just mentioned that planet, Pluto. What's different here, the archetype of Judgment, Pluto is, in these cards here, we see our archangel, and we're being called. We're being called to really look within ourselves. Self-judgment is what I call the Judgment card. Really see what you've become. Is this where you want to be? Make those changes. You start seeing signs that there is a need for a change of something, answer it. Pluto and Judgment. Pluto is all about transformation, getting down to the root of what's going on within ourselves, and addressing those issues and destroying it, just like the Tower card and its influence of the planet Mars. These go hand in hand. So if you get the Judgment and the Tower card, and if you do certain kinds of layouts, if they're fitting, it's a clear sign that there are some major shifts that need to be done, especially when you're getting and working with Major Arcana cards. These are, any card that shows up in a layout that's a Major Arcana, it's something to pay attention to. It's something that needs to be addressed first and foremost. So Judgment is Pluto, transformation to regenerate with something new. The new you. Which leads to our next card, our closing card of the Major Arcana, which is ruled by Saturn, is the World. Again, we have the 4 fixed signs. Like the Lion, the Bull, Aquarius, and the Eagle. This is ruled by Saturn, discipline. The previous card, Pluto, about self-judging oneself, looking within yourself, making the changes that are needed, using the discipline and restrictions that you need to do to make that beautiful change that is needed within yourself or within the situation, comes from Saturn, and it's the World card. You can see you're really on top of the world when things feel right, things look good. This is a wonderful influence of how Saturn can play a role. And if you get this card and are reading the World card, again, it's a sign to show that maybe you are on the right track and to keep going and work with the energies of Saturn to accomplish this. So that wraps up the 10 Major Arcana archetypes and their planetary influences. So I'm going to use the pagan otherworlds. I'm going to go through it really quick. The Fool is Uranus. Unknown, unexpected energy, being prepared for what could lie ahead. It's the Fool of Uranus. The Magician, ruled by Mercury. Quick, swift action. Working with those tools. Working with the elements of fire, water. Fire is energy, water is the emotions. The swords, thoughts. And Pentacles, wealth, value, good health. Using your mind to make choices, the right choices, by using those elements. It's the Magician, ruled by Mercury. And the High Priestess, which is ruled by the Moon. Focus on our inner selves spiritually. Looking for guidance by using tools of psychic energy if you want. Connecting with the moon energy to achieve a deeper understanding of our own spirituality and what that is and what it entails. Use the High Priestess and the moon as your guides in understanding it and exploring that. The High Priestess, the moon. The Empress, Venus, our creatrix. The nurturer, knowing how to create and sharing your experience with others, the beauty, the healing that comes with the process of creation and getting ready to give birth to what we believe in. Venus, the Empress. Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter, expansion. The Karma card. What goes around comes around. Jupiter deals with luck and success, but make sure the choices that you make towards those directions are ones that you will be able to handle the outcome from, whether it's good or bad. Wheel of Fortune by Jupiter, ruled by Jupiter. Hangman, planet Neptune, just flipping things around. When all things come to a close and you can't see any means of going further, flip things around. Use the energy of Neptune, the illusion. Go into the subconscious and delve into that realm to see what could possibly result from this. Again, the hangman is upside down. The head's pointing towards the lower realm, the subconscious. Hangman is Neptune. The Tower, Mars. Destruction. Everything that was built up didn't work out. It's time to break down. All those influences from the past, time to let go. Free yourself, liberate yourself. The Tower and the Death card are almost hand in hand. But the Tower card is a calling card to actually break down those boundaries. Break down, not even boundaries, but break down what is no longer of use to you. And as I mentioned, the Pluto, planet Pluto, is also an influence for the Tower card. It's a form of breaking down and transforming. The Sun, ruled by the Sun, vitality, life-giving, new beginnings. You've gone through all the changes, you've gone through all the challenges. This is your opportunity, after going through all those shifts, to really shine, literally, and show who you really want other people to see of yourself. The Sun card, ruled by the Sun. Here we go again with Pluto, Judgment, self-judging, calling yourself out on things that need to be changed. Breaking it down, Pluto, getting down to the core of things, and rebuilding inside, restructuring, and then transforming. This is Judgment, ruled by Pluto. And then we have the World card, Saturn, limitations, restrictions, challenging your own self to better understand who you are. Again, going back to the Judgment card, Pluto and Saturn. Using discipline within yourself to see things in a different perspective and a much better you. It's the World card, ruled by Saturn. And that wraps it up. We did the full Major Arcana with the astrological signs and the decans from the Minor Arcana and the court cards of influence, from the Emperor all the way down to the Moon, and then we went through the planetary aspects, influences of the 10 Arcana cards, from Uranus all the way down to Saturn. And again, you can even break up the Major Arcana into these two different perspectives. You could do a reading where maybe planetary-wise you want to understand, you want a guide from the Major Arcana to maybe put clarity on a situation. You could break these down into these 10 Major Arcana cards, from the Fool to the Moon. And then again, also astrologically, from the Emperor to the Moon. If you want guidance more on the signs, excuse me, the signs and the relationships within the decans and their influence of the Major Arcana and court cards, pull out those 12 cards and the Minor Arcana and the court cards and try doing a reading with those cards and see how those work together. I mentioned at the beginning of this video to do an exercise where basically you are breaking up the Major Arcana, as I just mentioned, into these 12 signs, into their planets. And look through each of these cards, also with the Minor Arcana and court cards. And just spend time with it. Go through each archetype. You don't have to pull all the archetypes in the Minor Arcana all at once. It's a lot. It's a lot of information. So just take time, get familiar with the Major Arcana archetypes, the Minor Arcana, court cards. Individually, take notes and see how you feel with those feelings and thoughts that you get with each of these cards. Again, doing this is a wonderful exploration for those who want to bring in elements of astrology more into their tarot reading. It will expand your understanding of the tarot and your knowledge and how you do readings. So those are my closing thoughts. If you have any questions, you can reach me via my website, www.themysticrosetarot.com. I'm on Instagram under the same name, The Mystic Rose Tarot. I will be time-stamping this video since I've covered so much information. I was going to do a separate video, but I thought, no, let's just keep going. So I will time-stamp these into the 12 astrological signs. I will timestamp these for the Major Arcana and their planets. And you could stop and take notes as needed. So that's it. I will explore this probably in a different realm, and perhaps do another video, but this is part 3. I gave a general overview. I didn't go into explaining the meanings of the Minor Arcana in relation to the Major Arcana. That would be another hour or so. Use the knowledge that you have already from your tarot practice and look at these cards individually and apply the decans, the signs and the planets into this practice and see what you get from it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Have a good morning. And I will look forward to doing another video soon and perhaps doing a discussion about this further. Have a wonderful